Forget everything you think you know about a WWE debut. In a moment nobody saw coming, the entire WWE universe was left speechless. This wasn't just another rookie walking down the ramp. This was the arrival of a legacy. Picture a sold-out Monday Night Raw. The energy is electric, and then suddenly the arena goes quiet. The music that hits isn't some high-energy pop song. It's a minimalist, tense drum beat that just cuts through the noise. Then, she appears. Arissa LeBrock, daughter of martial arts icon Steven Seagal, steps into the ring, and in less than 3 minutes, changes the entire landscape of the women's division. But this wasn't the kind of debut people were expecting. There was no smiling, no waving to the fans, no playing to the camera. What we all witnessed was a fighting style so different, so shockingly efficient, it looked like nothing that's ever been in a WWE ring. It trended worldwide, with everyone asking the same thing. What did we just see? Today, we're breaking down what a debut like this would look like, move for move. And then, we'll reveal the incredible true story of the woman herself. Her gut-wrenching fight to come back from a career-threatening injury and step out of the shadow of her famous parents. This is the story of a debut that could, and maybe should, happen. To really get the shockwave an Arissa LeBrock debut would send, you have to picture the scene. Her opponent isn't a nobody, it's a powerhouse brawler. Let's say it's Piper Niven, someone known for just running through her opponents. The bell rings, and just as you'd expect, Niven charges forward like a bull, ready to end it quick with a clothesline. And right there, the whole script gets thrown out the window. Instead of bracing for impact, Arissa does something no one's ready for. She doesn't move back. She shifts slightly to the side. As Niven's arm comes flying, Arissa doesn't block it. She redirects it. Using a classic Aikido principle, she melts into Niven's own momentum. Her hand flowing over the arm and locking in a wrist lock so fast, the crowd barely has time to register it. Niven is instantly on her knees, her own force used against her, with a look of pure confusion and pain on her face. The commentators would be silent for a second before Michael Cole could just stammer, "What was that? What in the world just happened?" But Arissa doesn't go for a pin. This isn't about wrestling a traditional match, it's about deconstruction. She lets go and steps back, her face totally calm. Niven, now furious and embarrassed, gets up and charges again, this time throwing a wild haymaker. Again, Arissa doesn't meet force with force. She ducks under the punch, and as Niven stumbles past, Arissa strikes, not with a closed fist, but with a quick open palm shot to the back of the knee. It's not a move meant for a 3 count. It's designed to neutralize a limb. Niven's leg gives out and she goes crashing into the turnbuckle. The arena would be buzzing with a mix of awe and confusion. They're used to suplexes and frog splashes, not these surgical debilitating attacks. Corey Graves would finally find his voice, saying, "This isn't wrestling. This is a martial arts clinic. Piper Niven is one of the toughest women we have, but she can't hit a ghost. LeBrock is dismantling her without breaking a sweat." The match continues like this. Every single offensive move from Niven is met with a technique that takes the attack apart. Niven tries for a suplex, but as she lifts, Arissa shifts her weight and applies pressure to Niven's elbow joint, forcing her to drop the hold. There are no Irish whips. There are no theatrics. It's all grounded, brutally real, and you can't take your eyes off it. The ending would be the most shocking part. Niven, desperate, finally gets a hold of Arissa and lifts her for a massive powerbomb. It looks like she's finally caught her. But as she's lifted into the air, Arissa wraps her legs around Niven's head in a triangle choke, a clear nod to her Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu training. But she doesn't just squeeze. While inverted, she drives her knuckles into the nerve cluster behind Niven's jaw. It's a hold that looks both agonizing and impossibly technical. Niven doesn't even have time to tap. Her body goes limp. She collapses, unconscious. The ref doesn't even bother with a count. He sees Niven is out cold and calls for the bell. The arena is dead silent for a beat, then erupts. Arissa LeBrock simply stands, has her hand raised and stares into the camera with an unnerving calm, as if to say, "This is different. I am different." In the moments after the bell, the real impact would start to ripple out. The commentary team would be left stumbling over their words. Cole would be talking about the legitimacy and how it felt more like a real fight than sports entertainment. Graves, maybe a skeptic at first, would have to admit, "We call superstars weapons, but Arissa LeBrock is a surgeon. She just systematically took apart one of the toughest women in this company." Backstage, you'd see the cameras catching other superstars watching the monitors, their faces a mix of shock, curiosity, and maybe a little fear. The entire women's division, built on power moves and spectacle, would be instantly threatened by something it has no defense for. How do you game plan for an opponent who operates on a different level of physics? Within minutes, Arissa debut would be trending #1 worldwide. Wrestling forums would be on fire. Imagine a tweet from Booker T. "This is what I'm talking about, legitimacy. Arissa LeBrock just brought a style to WWE we haven't seen. The game has changed." Even a notorious critic like Jim Cornette might have to get on his podcast and grudgingly admit, "As much as I hate the goofy stuff in wrestling today, you can't deny the believability. The girl knows her stuff. She presents a threat that is 100% credible." That single performance wouldn't just be about a new star. It's about a new philosophy of combat entering the ecosystem. It immediately creates a dozen compelling questions. Who can actually challenge her? Could a high flyer stay out of her reach? Could a submission artist like Shayna Baszler go hold for hold with her? Could the raw power of a Rhea Ripley finally break through her defenses? The debut isn't just a match. It's the start of a dozen new stories. So how did we get here? Because Arissa LeBrock's story was never supposed to lead to a wrestling ring. Her journey is one of incredible resilience, reinvention, and escaping the shadows of two of pop culture's biggest icons. First, you have to look at her lineage. Her father is Steven Seagal, the Aikido master who became one of the biggest action stars on the planet. Her mother is Kelly LeBrock, the supermodel and actress who was the dream girl of a generation in films like Weird Science. Imagine being born into that, a combination of a deadly martial artist and a world-famous model. That's an insane amount of pressure. And for years, she tried to build her own identity. She appeared on the reality show Growing Up Supermodel, where she spoke about always hearing, "Oh, you're Kelly LeBrock's daughter. You're Steven Seagal's daughter." Her response was always firm, "No, I'm me." She became a successful plus-size model, carving out her own path. But that fighting spirit from her father was always there. Arissa dedicated herself to martial arts, specifically the grueling world of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, training at the Paragon Jiu-Jitsu and Kickboxing Academy. In December 2019, the call came. WWE invited her for a tryout at the Performance Center. This was her chance. But then, disaster struck. During or shortly after the tryout, she suffered a catastrophic injury that brought her dream to a dead stop. What came next was a dark period. In her own unbelievably honest words, she later revealed, "When I got the call from Dustin, I realized that I had become comfortable in the darkest, worst place in my life." Think about that. She wasn't just struggling, she had almost given up. Her body was broken, and her dream felt like it was over. And then, a phone call changed everything. It was Dustin Rhodes, wrestling royalty who knows everything about living up to a famous name and the power of reinvention. He offered her a second chance, an invitation to train at his Rhodes Wrestling Academy. She threw herself into it, rebuilding her body and her spirit from scratch. Dustin praised her work ethic, telling, "Sports guys talking wrestling. She's doing a great job, but this is only the beginning for her." He then made a prediction. Pretty soon the whole world's going to be talking about Arissa LeBrock. In March 2023, she made her official in-ring debut at a student showcase, a moment she earned through pure grit. She wasn't just a famous daughter anymore. She was a survivor. She was a professional wrestler. So what would an arrival like this actually do to the WWE Women's Division? It would completely break it. For years, the division has revolved around clear archetypes: the powerhouse, the high flyer, the technician. Arissa doesn't fit any of those. She'd be the first true specialist in a long time, a disruptor who changes the math of every match she's in. Her presence instantly creates dream matches that are fascinating to think about. Take Rhea Ripley, the dominant, unstoppable force. A match between them isn't about Rhea's power. It's about her patience. Can she even get her hands on LeBrock? And what happens when her own strength is used against her? It's a classic story of power versus intelligence. Then you have someone like Asuka, whose offense is built on a completely different striking-based style. A match between her and LeBrock would be a beautiful, violent game of chess between two martial arts philosophies. Who controls the distance? Who dictates the pace? But maybe the most intriguing matchup of all would be against Shayna Baszler. The Queen of Spades, with her MMA background and catch wrestling style, is the closest thing to LeBrock's level of credibility. A feud between them would be built around one simple question: whose art is more dangerous inside a wrestling ring? Is it Baszler's aggressive limb-snapping or LeBrock's defensive, momentum-stealing counters? It's a storyteller's dream. Her arrival would also force every other woman on the roster to get smarter. They couldn't rely on their usual moves anymore. They'd have to solve the puzzle of Arissa LeBrock, which elevates the entire division. She would be the ultimate final boss, not because of her size, but because she represents a completely different kind of fighting IQ. Ultimately, the debut of Arissa LeBrock would be a statement. It's a statement that legitimacy comes from unexpected places, that a legacy is something you forge yourself, and that the most dangerous opponent is the one you simply don't understand. She would be a perfect mix of her mother's star presence and her father's terrifying fighting skills, channeled into something the wrestling world has never seen before. But that's just my take. What do you guys think? How would you book the debut of a legacy star like Arissa LeBrock? What are the dream matches you'd want to see? Let me know your fantasy booking in the comments below, and if you enjoy what-if scenarios like this one, make sure to subscribe for more.